Yeah, we've got here a 1957 Plymouth hardtop. Got it from the States, from Pennsylvania, and was in pretty good nick when I got it, but like if you're too fussy with things you end up pulling them apart and everything's got to be redone. This car's had new floor pans in it. They were all got it from a mob. The old floor pans come from a mob, I think they're fabrication mob in Cincinnati, and I had a friend panel beater who put all the new floor pans in. Yeah, and they probably weren't too bad. You could have probably patched them up, but I thought, no, I'm going to have this car for a while. I'm going to replace all of them. And the rust on these cars, I mean, a lot of people will tell you about rust. And yeah, they've got plenty of rust in them if you don't get a good one. This particular one probably wasn't bad. So, I mean, it had rust around in the areas where I reckon they rust the most. Well, this one was rusted right round here. And I patch panelled that. Well, I made my own panels and fixed all that area up. Pretty hard to get the curves right and everything, but I think it's presentable. Around the windows too, they rust. And you can see where I've been blasted there. You can see it close up. And that was blasted, and I just painted over that. Hopefully with all the strips and that'll all cover. And around the back window too, they tend to rust. All the water holds. Look close enough there, you can see where it's a bit pitted. Yeah, and yeah, it's had, probably for its age, it's probably not too bad. Like all the docos I've heard, all of the stuff that rusts out on them everywhere, but this one was probably a pretty good car. A lot of red dust fell out of this, so it was probably from some country town in the States, which, you know, 50 years ago, who knows, even though I bought it from Pennsylvania. And yeah, I coated underneath yesterday with looks a bit shiny, which was called a POR 15 product. You have to do it in 3 stages, and with the marine clean, then you put a metal prep, and then you paint this black stuff on. Don't get it on your skin, for God's sake, because you can't get it off. You can probably after a while. You can see my little bit of seam sealing there. Looks a bit rough, but maybe no one's really going to be looking underneath the car. I won't be anyway once it's on the road. But it had a lot of areas there were joined up. See this area here, that was all sort of remade and fabricated. They all seemed to rust all in there. When I got it, all those inside inner sill panels were rotted away. There was nothing left. It was all holes. So I'm surprised with the laws over in the States. They seem to have them nice looking on the outside, but all underneath is all fully rusted out. A lot of friends that have imported cars have told me that in the past. But this one's had all new panels in it all the way along, especially in New South Wales. With the laws that we got, we can't have any structural rust or any type of rust at all. And all the inner guards and everything were all done with that POR stuff. Yeah, pretty good stuff. And had a heap of rust along here too, along the back here, the beaver, bottom of the beaver. I'd cut all that out and fixed all that in. So there's definitely no rust under this car now, after been working on it for 12 months. Yeah, so that's part of the body done. Also, there was a lot of rust here too. Whoever repaired it all those years ago decided they would just do that with the old Nicky, or the putty, or the bog, or filler, or whatever you want to call it, Bondo, and it was all, so I had to rip all that out. Because everywhere you see a rust bubble in this car, you think, uh-oh, what do we got here? You start with the old grinder, and then what do you know, it's all dust. So no one really panelled that up and welded it correctly. They just sort of shoved putty in everywhere, which is easy, looks alright, but in the long run it's going to give you more trouble. So every bit of this car was, all the putty was removed, and it was all plated, and obviously you'd need your filler just to get your imperfections out. So it worked out pretty good. Yeah, with the chassis, The chassis was painted 2 weeks ago. It was blasted and painted with 2K. Painted with 2K and just primed and 2K'd straight over, wet on wet. And it didn't come up too bad either. And a few runs around the place, but as I say, I mean, I'm probably not really building a show car, and people saying, well, you're spending all this time, why don't you go all the way? Look, I mean, it was better than rust. The car had plenty of rust on it as far as the surface rust goes. And yeah, so I've just gone ahead and blasted the whole chassis, even left the diff in there, and I just sort of got the old 2K out and give it a hit. And everything's been pulled off, as you can see, all the suspension parts and the all the drums and everything. They were blasted, and everything's painted. I've got to put new bushes on. I think I've gone a bit ahead of myself here. I've gone ahead and painted everything and then realised I needed bushing, but I've got the bushes there, so if anything I chip, I'll have to just brush touch everything back up again. These inner guards weren't too bad for this car, but apparently they rust pretty bad underneath the battery carrier. As you can see there, I'm going to have to see what I'm going to do there. I might have to cut that out and start again. That whole section is pretty pitted. Yeah. Those inner guards weren't too bad, and even this front part of the car, I don't know what the exact terminology for it is, but it's probably got a little bit of rust